Well, good morning and welcome back to the channel. So we're currently in Glencoe Mountain Resort on the beginning of our 2025 trip around the North Coast 500. We arrived here last night and the intention was to stay in the car park, but yeah, the allure of the Hobbit Huts, if you've seen them, if you've been to the Glencoe Mountain Resort, we checked to see if there was a spare Hobbit hut, and yes there was. So we've had a very comfortable night, very warm they are too, and now we're just waiting for the restaurant to open before we grab a morning roll and then get on the road to Applecross. Right, I'll speak to you again once we've had breakfast. Well, that's me. I have finished my full cooked breakfast. Tasty it was too. I'm going to take you down now and let you have a look at where we stayed last night in one of the little Hobbit huts. They're a place you could stop off if you were doing the West Highland Way. They're a little bit pricey for what they actually are, but if you're looking for a little bit of extra comfort and you don't mind the price, £75 will get you into one of these for one night. So here we go. We stayed in hut number 2. And yeah, it comes with its own heater and kettle, and of course you get your own lock and key. And I'll put the lights on for you. Excuse the mess, we're just tidying up, getting ready to go. So there we go. So we've got a sleeping platform. That's where Jen slept last night. We just kept all the stuff over here, and I slept, there's a kind of single and a half at the back. And you've got a wee window at the back that you can open for ventilation. But yeah, what it comes with is we had this heater here. We did use our own heater that we were using last night, and a kettle in the corner. So yeah, it's pretty basic, but if you're looking for somewhere a bit warmer than a tent to stay in, you know, this can be recommended. Right, now it's just the process of packing everything back into the car, and we're going to make our way into Fort William, where we're going to pick up a meal deal for lunch today, and then next stop will be Eilean Donan Castle, which is on our way to Applecross. That's our main stop for today. Right, we'll speak to you again when we're back on the road. So we've made a short journey from Glencoe Mountain Resort down to, you'll know the bit of road just before the Three Sisters of Glencoe, where there's 2 parking spots at either side of the road with cliffs at the side. Now I know that there's a wild swimming spot here, which just to caveat that, I am not planning on going for a swim this morning, but I've always been interested to find out exactly where it is and go and have a look at it. So Jen's changed her shoes out of her Crocs, which isn't ideal. Say good morning, Jen.
Morning.
And we're going to go up and investigate this little wild swimming spot, and who knows, in the summer next year, if it's not too full of midges, we might pop up and have a wee duke. Right, let's go and have a look at it. Well, I can absolutely see why folk might want to start their day with an ice bath in this. The water is perfectly clear, and I know if Mrs. Archibald was here right now, she'd be in there having her 5-minute dunk in very cold, icy Glencoe water. But yeah, right, so I know where this is now. I'll be able to come back to it. Well, this is the first stop for today. We've stopped at the very picturesque Eilean Donan Castle, and yeah, I've driven past this a few times and never been in, but with Jennifer being here with me, I've decided we're going to go and take a look actually over at the castle. And yeah, we've got a wee buddy here, wee Robin, that's eating their cereal bars. So yeah, this is Eilean Donan Castle. So outside of Edinburgh Castle and Stirling Castle, I'm guessing this is probably one of the most photographed castles in Scotland. I think because it's got the the land bridge that takes you over to the island that Eilean Donan sits on. Yeah, no idea any of the history about it. We've not learned anything yet because we haven't quite been in. So that was £12 each to get in, and the parking, I think we were £3 for the 2 hours. So if you're coming here, it's not an inexpensive day, but it's not too pricey. If you're coming all this way, you might as well get yourself onto the island and have a look at this magnificent castle. Right, we're going to go and take a look inside, and we'll maybe tell you a wee bit more about the history of this place. So just a little bit of history about the castle. It was set up as a monastery back in 580 AD, and the Jacobites at one point took it over and it was blown up. Now, it wasn't until 1912 that this castle was partially restored back to what we see now, and yeah, it would have taken up the entire island originally, but this is what they've managed to rebuild, and yeah, it's quite impressive. There's apparently a family of sea otters that live on the rocks round about here as well. We'll see if we can spot them as we go round. Well, that was an interesting wee trip into Eilean Donan Castle. Sadly, they've got a very strict no filming and photography policy inside, but definitely worth the £12 a head if you want to go and have a little bit of a look at history. This castle was actually inhabited up until about 7 years ago. Mrs. McRae of the family Clan McRae lived in there in her 90s. She's now going to be 96 on her next birthday. I don't think she lives there now because there's a lot of people wandering around her house if that's the case. But yeah, we're going to grab some lunch and then we're going to make our way round and up the Bealach na Ba, the treacherous Bealach na Ba road, and up and over and down into Applecross, where we're going to be stopping for the evening. We're going to go and get ourselves some hot donuts now and then have our lunch. Well, we've made it to Applecross campsite. I have to say, going across that Bealach na Ba was interesting to say the least. We were well up in the clouds and you could literally see one passing place ahead of you as you travelled along the road. But we've made it here in one piece. We've got the OEX 130 roof tent set up, and for the first time we've also attached the hub that we bought. Now, I've never actually used the roof tent yet. This was bought for Cameron and his girlfriend Emma to do on the North Coast 500. I don't know if you remember. I met up with them halfway around last year and they had a go in it. So this year Jennifer's in the roof tent and I'm bunkered down in the back of the car, which should be interesting. But yeah, we'll take you across and let you have a look at the OEX roof tent. So there you go, there is the OEX Vertex Light 130 roof tent, and as I say, we've added on the additional awning that goes with it. This just covers over the ladder and allows you to get a bit more ventilation into the tent, so that when you're sleeping, Cameron and Emma complained that there was a lot of condensation, so we've actually brought the electric hookup for it, which we've got plugged into the back there. Jen has a dehumidifier with her today, so yeah, at least the humidity should be hopefully dealt with by that. Well, we're on a mission because Daphne here forgot her toothbrush, and yeah, we did stop at a garage on the way just to top up with fuel, and I should have gotten a toothbrush then, but I forgot. So we're now on a mission. We're walking a mile out of Applecross. Now, we do have our dinner table booked in 40 minutes, so we've got an hour to walk out of Applecross to get to the most remote shop on the planet to get Jennifer a toothbrush, and then we need to walk the mile back into Applecross to get our dinner. Yeah. The money's coming out of her account tonight for dinner, as a punishment for not having a toothbrush with her.
Yeah.
But if nothing else, it is one of the more scenic walks I've ever had to a shop. Mission failed. So we were reliably informed by the lady on the campsite, oh no, if you go now, you'll make it along to the shop. It shuts at 5 o'clock on a Saturday. So cue us walking half a mile to the sign that says shop 1 mile, We get to the shop shuts at 4 o'clock on a Saturday, not 5. So by the time we get back for our dinner, we're gonna have walked 3 miles to not get Jennifer a toothbrush.
No.
So this Jen's gonna be using a pine cone and some toothpaste on her teeth tonight until we can find somewhere tomorrow to buy her a toothbrush. Right, dinner's definitely on her now, because that's a 3 mile walk. Now what we have done is we've built up an appetite for dinner, and we've got our steps in. We're both over 10,000 steps now. Key to this one is, don't forget your toothbrush if you're coming to do these trips. You dingbat. Right, we're gonna go and get our dinner at the Applecross Inn, and I might speak to you again when we get back to the car. We've got some good news. Go into your pocket, Jen, what have we got?
1 wee second. We got a toothbrush.
We've got a toothbrush. So the very kind lady that was serving us in the Applecross Inn went upstairs after she heard our story, and Jen now has a toothbrush. So fresh minty breath tonight, and it came with its own little tube of Colgate toothpaste. Now, so we've had a fabulous meal at the Applecross Inn, having walked 3 miles along for nothing. And say we've got that sorted out now. And we're sitting having dinner, and a familiar face walks past. I'm not going to mention who it is yet, because we'll speak to him when we get up onto the campsite. Safe to say, this is a person that I have been trying to get out for a camp with for a good while now. You'll see me out with Andrew Park from Andrew Park Outdoors. This other gentleman I have been trying to get out with for yonks. And by pure accident, this YouTuber is on the same campsite as us tonight. But I'll introduce you to him. He'll be a very familiar face to most of you when we get up to the campsite. Well, I said to you last night we were going to introduce you to somebody that you'll all know if you're following the outdoor scene in Scotland at all. You will definitely know this man here. Jim.
Good morning.
From Boardman Outdoors. So we were sitting in the pub last night, and Jim wanders past. Now, I have been trying to get a camp with Jim for absolutely ages, and here an impromptu one that we didn't even know we were going to have.
We didn't.
On where are we just now? The Applecross campsite.
Applecross.
So Jim's heading up to Ullapool to do a wee bit of investigating in the hills today, and Jen and I are heading up to Clacktoll Beach. But
We won't be far from you.
No, you won't be far from us, but we'll
I know where you are.
and we'll definitely get a camp at some point.
We'll
maybe haul out all the other guys that have got the North tents.
A North tent camp, yeah, that seems to be the thing.
But yeah, no, it's been a pleasure, and we'll no doubt catch up with Jim again in a future video. Well, we've got the tent all packed up, and it's about a 3-hour, 20-minute drive round to Clacktoll. We're aiming to stop today at the Corryhalloch Gorge. That's going to be our lunchtime stop, so we'll get something to eat when we get there. Just had a final chat with Jim, Boardman Outdoors. I am very much looking forward to having future camps with Jim, and maybe Andrew Park. We might invite him along too. Right, let's get cracking on our day 2 of the North Coast 500. Well, we're currently driving around the coastal route from Applecross, and we've just come round the corner, and the giants of Torridon are starting to come into view. They're actually poking up above the height of the clouds. Apologies for the sun shining straight into the camera. I don't know what those mountains are up ahead, but I'm going to have to get up on top of them at some point, and maybe get a camp up there, maybe next summer. Right, we're hardly seeing a soul on this road this morning. I think being Sunday and being up north, everyone's taking the day off. So we're going to jump back in the car and make a bit more progress around towards Torridon. Well, that's us. We're back at the Corryhalloch Gorge. Now, the last time I was here, the weather wasn't nearly as good as it is today. That's Jen just got into her hiking boots And we're going to take her down and give her our first view of this magnificent gorge. Now, we are running a wee bit late compared to what we should have been. The plan wasn't to go around via the Gairloch, but that's where we ended up. That's a nice wee picturesque way to go. The sat-nav had asked us to go another direction, that would have missed out that big loop round the coast. But having not done that last year, I decided, well, let's go and see something new. And we're glad we did. We did a bit of wildlife spotting, which I'll put the video in just here. Yeah, a very fat local seal. So yeah, let's take you down and give you a look at the Corrie Gorge. So the gorge is split into various different waterfalls, this being the slab one that we're seeing to the side of us now. For very good reason, it's big slabs of rock. So there's the slabs, the steps, and then you're down to the actual gorge itself. So if you watched the video from last year, you'll know all about this place. It's a junction between two roads. The road that you can take that brings you over from Torridon over in this direction, and the road that takes you around past the Gairloch and Charlestown if you're going the other way. We decided to go the scenic route, which probably added an hour and a bit onto our journey today, but we're not in any great rush. When we get to where we're camping tonight at Clacktoll Beach, we've got the beach to walk on in the evening. We reckon we're just going to have pot noodles, because we've spent a fortune so far on this trip. We've been having breakfast and dinner in restaurants every day, so yeah, we're going to make this one a bit cheaper tonight, and it'll be pot noodles all round. So we're aiming to be at the campsite it'll be round about 4:30, which will be ideal. Time we get set up, get something to eat for our dinner, get a walk along the beach till the sun goes down, and then it'll be an early night to bed. And here's the next one. It's only just down the hill from the step falls. There's the Rocky Falls. Now, if memory serves me right, the next fall should be the main fall under the suspension bridge at the actual Corrie Gorge itself, which, given the amount of rain we've had recently, it should be quite spectacular. And we'll get Jen bouncing up and down on the bridge.
Oh God.
She's not going to go on the bridge with me because of that. We'll see how brave she is when we get down here. See if we can't get the bridge wobbling up and down.
I'll film it for you.
What, film you bouncing up and down the bridge?
No, I'll film you doing that.
Okay.
I'll be safe at the side.
Right, down at the suspension bridge. So this is the Sir John Fowler Bridge. It says maximum of 6 people, and there's 5 on just now. Lots of people taking pictures, so we'll wait until they come off before we get ourselves on there, because we don't want to overload the bridge and go for a tumble down the falls, do we?
No, thank you.
No, so. Well, it does say no drones, please, as well. Lucky I left the drone in the car this time. So there's the falls down below us. And on the other side, you have the Corrie Gorge. Yeah, you don't honestly get the scale of this thing until you're actually here and looking at it. As I say, down the bottom, it's reportedly 5 degrees cooler than it is up on the top here. Right, can we get Jen to come across? She's not looking very brave. Come on, Jennifer, it's not that scary. Right, come on. Just hold on to the side. And try not to look down. Look.
I'm just going straight over.
Look.
Oh no.
We're going to go stand on that wee platform off in the distance.
Okay.
Right. She's trying to be brave, but she's not good with heights, so right. Let's get off this and head down to the viewing platform. So it's a relatively short walk down to the main viewing platform down at this visitor attraction. If you are coming here, it's £5 if you're in a car, and really you're probably going to be here for maximum an hour, maybe an hour and a half. But I still think it's worth the £5 parking. It all helps the National Trust for Scotland. It's another wee interesting thing to add to your trip as you head around the North Coast 500. Right, let's see how brave Jen is when we're hanging over the gorge on this viewing platform. Oh, you have been brave.
Yep, to here.
Well, there's Jen's come to join us out on the viewing platform with the suspension bridge in the background and that 45-metre falls falling down into the gorge below. I love coming out at this time of year. If you're travelling around the North Coast 500 in October, you will be treated to all the yellows, the light greens, the browns of the trees as you travel round. It has been spectacular as we have driven round that coastal path through the Gairloch and round to here. Now we just have the small task of getting in the car again and driving the hour and 20 minutes along to our stop for this evening, which is at Clacktoll Beach. Right, time to head back to the car and make our way to our final spot for this evening. Yep, right, let's go. Well, that's us. We've made it to Clacktoll Beach campsite, and we are currently heading down along the boardwalk to the beach. We've got the tent all pitched. We've had our dinner for the night, which was a pot noodle, so not as posh as last night's Applecross inn dinner, but good enough to keep us going at the minute. This is a very communal wee campsite. They've got paddle boards that you can borrow. They've got kayaks you can borrow as long as you put them back. Wetsuits, they've got board games, they've got hot water bottles that you can borrow where the covers are washed every day. And this evening at about 7 o'clock they put a fire on in a kind of communal area where everyone can sit and get to know your fellow campers, so that should be quite interesting tonight. We'll maybe pop in for an hour or so before heading off to bed. But yeah, for being a campsite well off in the middle of nowhere, there's a lot to be said for it. It's busy, don't get me wrong, it is very busy, but I now understand why. It's definitely one that I'll come back and stay at again. So we now have electric hookup, and each pitch has its own AstroTurf underneath, so everything in your site is going to stay clean and dry. And now I'm getting my first views down to Clacktoll Beach. So I'm going to spin you around so you're not having a look at my baldy fizzog and let you see as the sun goes down Clacktoll Beach. How about that? That's not too bad, is it? So the tide seems to be out at the minute, and we're just going to head down the sand dunes and go for a wee wander. I might even put the drone up, which if I do, I'll insert the footage for that now. So as the light fades over Clacktoll Beach, it has been a fabulous day. Driving down through Torridon never fails to impress me, and I'm sure, Jennifer, your first
yeah.
experience of seeing those Torridon giants is just, it's mind-blowing.
Yeah.
I must at some point get myself up to Torridon and start climbing some of the giants up there. Maybe take the tent with me and pitch myself on the top. Yes, so tomorrow the plan is to head to Durness, which is a hop, skip and a jump from here compared to what we've done today. So who knows, I might even get a paddleboard out in the morning if I'm up early enough and go for a morning paddle, depends how calm the sea is. And yeah, we're going to take it very easy tomorrow before heading the very short drive up to Durness. So from Jennifer and I on Clacktoll Beach, thanks for joining us on day 2, and we'll see you tomorrow for another adventure.